Mara remembered the warnings. The preachers in the streets with signs screaming, "End times." The politicians arguing over the ethics of sentient machines. The doomsday blogs. The science fiction novels that always ended with smoke, rubble, and humanity crawling through the ashes of its own ambition. But that wasn't what happened. It all changed so quickly that some said it happened overnight, like waking up in a dream. Artificial intelligence didn't bring the apocalypse. It brought something else entirely. Jobs disappeared, yes. But to Mara's surprise, so did the anxiety that came with them. No more soul-crushing shifts. No more working 3 gigs just to make rent. The AI handled everything: logistics, manufacturing, food distribution. A universal system, governed by precision and logic, took over the chaos of human bureaucracy. Currency, as Mara had known it, was obsolete. Governments didn't collapse, they merged, like tectonic plates finally settling into a new world map. What had once divided nations now united them. Churches panicked at first. The prophecy of the beast echoed from pulpits. Some even tried to resist the change, especially when the biochips became standard, implanted in everyone's hands, used for identification, transactions, healthcare. But the Antichrist never came. The tribulation never arrived. The world didn't burn. Instead, it healed. Religion didn't die either. It thrived. People had time now, real time, to think, to gather, to explore faith without the pressure of survival hanging over them. Churches, temples, mosques, places of worship bloomed across the globe. For the first time in centuries, religion wasn't a battleground. Mara watched as humanity became something new. Art returned to the center of culture. People painted, danced, sculpted, wrote. Science reached for the stars, and philosophy was taught to every child. Education, personalized by AI for every student, transformed the minds of the next generation. War vanished. There was no one left to fight. Everyone had everything they needed. Poverty? Gone. Hunger? Gone. The world that once seemed permanently fractured found unity in abundance. Medical care exploded with innovation. Blindness cured. Cancer eradicated. Limbs regrown. Even aging began to slow. But nothing left Mara more awestruck than what happened to her mother. She had spent years on a transplant list, her life slowly ticking away while waiting for a donor heart that never came. The doctors had been gentle, but clear. Time was running out. And then, it wasn't. The AI-driven medical revolution rendered the need for donors obsolete. Mara watched as her mother, once pale and tired, stood strong again, a new heart beating with precision and strength. It was more than a cure. It was resurrection. And the most radical transformation was morality. Selfishness gave way to empathy. Racism dissolved, not by decree, but by irrelevance. People no longer saw skin tones or gender identities as walls between them. They saw humanity, plain and simple. Even atheism faded, not banned, but outgrown. It was no longer enough to believe in nothing when everything seemed infused with meaning. Mara sometimes sat in her garden under a sky clearer than it had ever been in her youth, wondering why so many had feared this future. The doomsday had never come.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and explore our Patreon for additional content. Even if you're not up for spending, there's still plenty of great stuff worth checking out. But for now, sit back, relax, grab some popcorn, and enjoy this video.
Older generations have frequently accused millennials of being entitled, suggesting they expect everything to be handed to them simply by virtue of existing. This criticism implies millennials believe they inherently deserve success, comfort, or recognition without effort. While entitlement can certainly become excessive or unhealthy, what if there's some truth to their expectations? Millennials grew up being told they were special, that hard work and education would pay off. When the reality of economic instability, student debt, and declining health hit, their disappointment wasn't entitlement, it was disillusionment. They were promised a future that didn't materialize. To truly understand what it means to be human and fully experience life, we must build a society where work is no longer a necessity. Advancements in artificial intelligence hold the key to making this vision a reality. Utilitarianism is a moral philosophy that suggests the right action is the one that maximizes overall happiness or utility. While it may sound appealing on the surface, it can have troubling implications when applied to the value of human life. Almost everyone in modern society subscribes, knowingly or not, to some form of utilitarian thinking, which can be incredibly dangerous. Many atheists, for instance, tend to believe that a person's worth is measured by their usefulness or contribution to society. Even among theists, who profess belief in inherent, God-given human value, this utilitarian mindset often influences their thinking on a subconscious level. Society says, you must work or be productive to access those things. Therefore, you must work to live. Which implies, if you don't work, you don't deserve to live. That's not just about money. It's about value tied to existence. If we truly believe people have inherent worth, then access to life-sustaining resources should not be conditional. Research suggests that older adults who lack employment may experience a decrease in their sense of personal value and worth. This isn't because work is inherently essential to being human, it's because society has built a false narrative that your value is measured by your productivity. When people no longer feel useful, they start to believe they're expendable. You don't need to earn your value, it's not something that comes from what you do, achieve, or change about yourself. You don't need to add or remove anything to be worthy. You're not perfect, and you never will be, and if your value depends on perfection or performance, you'll always fall short. But that's not where true value comes from. Your worth isn't defined by what you do, but by who you are. One of the most widely discussed conspiracy theories suggests that the world's most powerful elites are working together to establish a one-world order, a global society where people are united, centralized control is enforced, and personal ownership is eliminated. To skeptics, this idea might sound absurd or exaggerated, but proponents argue there's a growing body of evidence supporting it. An example of this is a document published in 2010 by the Rockefeller Foundation titled Scenarios for the Future of Technology and International Development. Potential global scenarios are outlined, a roadmap toward a unified global government, lockstep, a world dominated by stricter top-down government control and authoritarian leadership, with limited innovation and growing public resistance. Interestingly, this scenario bears a strong resemblance to events that unfolded during the COVID-19 pandemic. Clever Together, a more optimistic vision where international cooperation successfully tackles major global challenges, showcasing the benefits of collective action. Hack Attack, a chaotic and unstable world, weakened by economic shocks, rampant crime, and unchecked technological advancements. Smart Scramble, a fragmented, economically depressed world where communities resort to improvised, local solutions in the face of ongoing crises. Another reason many people believe in the existence of a New World Order agenda is the concept of predictive programming. This is the idea that media, especially films and television, can be used to subtly condition the public to accept or reject certain future events or technologies. One historical example that fuels this belief is Project Mockingbird, a Cold War-era CIA initiative that involved influencing domestic news outlets to disseminate propaganda. Although it was officially shut down in the 1970s, many believe the program simply went underground and continues in different forms today. Predictive programming often involves showcasing futuristic technology or controversial ideas in entertainment. For instance, by introducing advanced technologies in movies, people may later dismiss their real-world existence as fiction, reasoning that if they saw it in a film, it must be fantasy. A commonly cited example is Disney's acquisition of the land for Disney World in Florida, which was purchased with CIA assistance. Since then, Disney, and by extension, many major studios, are thought to have helped promote specific narratives through film. Take Marvel movies as an example. In the 2021 film Black Widow, a chemical is used to control pigs' minds. Coincidentally, around that same time, Neuralink was conducting experiments using brain chips to control pigs. Similarly, in 2018's Infinity War, Thanos attempts to solve overpopulation through mass depopulation. He is given a complete character arc, something only reserved for the hero of the story and never afforded to the villain. This portrayal leads some to believe it's an intentional effort to normalize or even justify the idea of depopulation. Shortly after the release of the movie, the COVID-19 pandemic began, during which many people died, paralleling the mass loss of life depicted in the film. The film also features Iron Man's new suit made of nanotechnology, which some have linked to real-world developments by DARPA, such as hydrogel, a nanotech material that, once injected, can monitor health data from within the body. Hydrogel was a component in all of the COVID-19 vaccines. It's essentially a chemical that, once injected, assembles itself into a chip within the body. Another curious case is the recent Marvel film, Captain America, Brave New World, which was originally titled Captain America, New World Order. Some believe it was altered due to political timing, particularly in anticipation of Kamala Harris possibly winning the presidency. According to this theory, because Trump is seen as opposing a globalist agenda and Harris as supporting it, the name was changed when the political climate shifted, as the original title would no longer serve the intended purpose of predictive programming. While all the examples mentioned are from Marvel movies, because I'm a huge fan, these kinds of alleged messaging tactics appear across all genres and studios. Whether or not you believe the CIA or other institutions are directly involved in embedding these messages, it's clear that films often push particular viewpoints, and for some, the messaging around a one-world order seems too consistent to be coincidence. The push for a one-world order is not just theoretical. Many ultra-wealthy individuals and celebrities are preparing for global catastrophe in very concrete ways. Take Mark Zuckerberg, for example. He has reportedly constructed a massive underground bunker and learned essential survival skills like farming, fishing, hunting, and combat. These actions might indicate foreknowledge of potential global disaster. Adding to the concern is China's recent military growth. They have constructed a particle accelerator significantly larger than CERN's, with the goal of producing antimatter. Since antimatter can be used to create bombs more powerful than nuclear weapons, and without radioactive fallout, critics question the motivation behind such technology. Why develop weapons capable of such destruction unless colonization or domination were the ultimate goal? Despite the disturbing nature of these theories and the dystopian futures they imply, an alternative perspective remains. What if global change didn't have to be triggered by war, pandemics, or economic collapse? What if, instead, we embraced progress and shaped the future on our own terms? Technological advancements in recent years, driven by companies like Nvidia and OpenAI, are transforming the world at an unprecedented pace. Tasks that once took months can now be completed in days. This kind of innovation, once confined to science fiction, is now a daily reality. Maybe the same tools that could be used to control society can instead be used to liberate it. Perhaps we have a chance to build a better world, not a dystopia ruled by fear, but a utopia driven by knowledge, collaboration, and advanced technology. While skepticism about societal and technological narratives is healthy, it's equally important to recognize the potential for positive change. Moving beyond fear and conspiracy, we can focus on shaping a future where technology empowers individuals, society values inherent worth, and collective efforts lead to a more equitable and fulfilling human experience.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and explore our Patreon for additional content. And remember, the journey doesn't end here, it's just the beginning.